questions then? Yeah. Okay. Dear Ajahn, you talked about the fifth precept yesterday. Can intoxication be occurred when we do shopping or eating food too much? Wanting and confusion with selection, with metta. Yes, unless you're enlightened, there's always some confusion and intoxication with the five sense world. And that's why maybe we shouldn't add anymore, intoxication by taking things in our mind. And it is true. I think the Pali thing, we can be a bit legalistic, but the Pali means, fermented drinks, and because it leads to intoxication. But then some people might say, well, so does coffee or whatever, or tea or caffeinated product. Yes, these things, can add to that. But basically, the rule is mainly about fermented drinks and or anything that confuse the mind. So, but it's true. If you are looking for your welfare, and so you would avoid things that would cloud your mind, cloud your mindfulness or the clarity. And stay away from even caffeinated drinks if you think that will make you act in ways that are not wholesome or might disturb your meditation, and other kind of activities as well. They add to the confusion and distraction in the mind. Yeah, but it's not strictly breaking the precept if you overdose on caffeine or anything. Yeah. Any questions or comments? Dear Ajahn, how can one subdue or undermine the sense of self? Thanks. Just like I said, different reflections. Not me, not mine. And you have to see that really reflect on what is the sense of self. Where is myself in this? Take the body. Is it really your body? Do you have full control over it? Can you say, I want to grow 2 inches taller? Is that going to do it? It's not going to happen. You're going bald. Can my hair not fall out? Not turn gray? No, it's not going to happen either. So where is that body of yours? When you're sick and you say, I want to feel better today. I want to feel more energetic. Is that going to happen? No. So it's not your body in that sense. You don't have full control over it. And that's the most easy thing to say. But the mind changes even quicker. Can I always feel happy? I want to feel happy all the time. Is that going to happen? No. So that's why, how can it be a self? Where's your self? If your self are your thoughts, well, these thoughts disappear. Where's that? Your memories, they come and they go. When you get older and you have, Alzheimer's disease, where's your self then? It's all disappeared. You can't remember anything. Right? So the Buddha pointed out very clearly that if you look at dissect this body and mind complex that we inhabit, every time we ask, is a self. Yeah, okay, there's something here, obviously. I'm sitting here and I'm not sitting there with you, and you're not me. It's true, there is some entity, something there. But it's not a self, it's not eternal. It doesn't last forever, and it doesn't come under our control. So that's why it's not a true self, because we can't control it, right? It doesn't come under our wishes, our will. So we kind of, work with it. But it's not a self in that way. And we take, the two main things, your thoughts, your memories, your intention, they change very quickly. We can, have some control over it, can direct it, but it's not 100% sure. So that's the reason why once we keep reflecting that, then it does undermine slowly our sense of self. Right? Does that make sense? Questions or comments? But not to say there's nothing here, there is something here. There's a body and mind process that we're undergoing. Yeah. And it's true, only when you become enlightened that you can penetrate through the sense of non-self. So we'd always feel there is a self. We feel that there's a self, and once you feel that, then most of the teacher kind of teach that as long as you feel that there's a sense of self, you should incline your mind towards, cultivating wholesome habits, doing the right thing, Instead of saying, "Oh, there's no self anyway, so I do whatever I want. I can hurt people, steal, take things. It's not me anyway." Well, there's still the law of karma for you to kind of pay. Okay, this is the fan letter for somebody out there. Congratulations to the couple keeping the 8 precepts. What an inspiration. So there you go. I think during the retreats, right? Or maybe their whole relationship. But anyway. Is focusing on qualities such as peace, chastity, honesty, and kindness too self-centered? I let the idea within my personality arise and fade away. Well, like I said, we have a sense of self. We might as well try to cultivate the wholesome self in ourselves, rather than kind of doing things that would harm ourselves and others. And then once you have a solid foundation of moral conduct, and you practice meditation, and you see that actually when you're in the stillness of the mind, that your thoughts come and go. You don't generate them. They don't come from within you. And you also see, you observe quickly, how the body also changes over the years. You see, wrinkles appearing on your face that weren't there 5-10 years ago. Your body starts to change on its own through the aging process, right? So and your habits also change over time. So we start to reflect, where is, this self? So, but focusing on qualities such as peace, chastity, honesty, and kindness, that's actually you're letting a lot of yourself go. Actually, so it's not really self-centered in that way, right? If you're making peace, then when you feel like you want to have an argument, you say, "Okay, I'm not going to act on that." So you're letting go your desires, letting go of the coarse desires. So like I said, with the self, we are by nature, because of our unenlightened mind, self-centered to a certain degree. But that is also a cause of suffering, because there is, the more we focus on the self, the more depressed we get. I mean, look at the whole world. We have this age of me and myself. Every advertisement, indulge in yourself, do whatever you feel like doing. And where has that gotten, us? People who indulge in themselves usually end up very depressed, because they can't see there's the whole bright, beautiful world outside of their wants, their deficiencies, their desires, their sickness, or whatever. The body. Once we focus outside, and that's why you see that people who, notice in the Catholic Church, people who do charity work, very, very happy, because they're worrying about other people, doing things for other people, and there's a brightness to it, less of energy, because you're not worried about, what you want or your energy level, but you're working for the welfare of the community. So you can see that as well in people around us. People who are selfless actually are quite happy. And people, that from your own personal life, always very concerned about, what they get out of life and how they can benefit themselves, end up very lonely and depressed, actually. So that's something we can also learn from people and situations around us, actually. Any questions or comments? Does it make sense? Okay. Dear Ajahn, please let venerable monks to explain why they have selected Ajahn Brahm's monastery, and how they have been here, including you, with metta. I'll go first. Okay. I ordained in Thailand, as most of you know, and trained there for 2 years. But during that time, there was a few Dhamma talks of Ajahn Brahm in the library, and I listened to that, and I was quite, I was very inspired by Ajahn Brahm's teaching, very clear and from a Western perspective that I can relate to. And but at the time, the monastery was quite full, and they said I couldn't go yet, being a very young monk. But then luckily, I think after the rains retreat, there was 3 or 4 monks. They had 5 rains retreat in the monastery already. So it was their time to do some traveling around to see other monastery. And then there was room. So I asked to come for 1 year. And 1 year turned out to be 8. And so I haven't left since, Australia anyway. I moved to Wat Buddha Dhamma after that. But it's just, there was room and different things came up or whatever, so he was kind enough to offer me a permanent place. So so I kept staying. So that's why I'm in Australia. But we'll move on to the other venerables.
I'm a Perth boy, so I guess that's the reason why I'm practicing here under Ajahn Brahm, because there's a monastery close to home. Oh, there are other monasteries, but I wasn't really looking for a specific teacher. I just wanted to go to a place to practice, and Bodhinyana offered a place for me to practice. So when I first entered the monastery, I just wanted to go to a place where I can go and sit meditation to calm my mind down. So I was lucky enough to find a place in Perth. And this, I didn't really know about Ajahn Brahm before I went into the monastery. And then I went there and I listened to a few of his talks, and I understand the way he ran the monastery. So I liked the way he did it. I like his easygoing style, the amount of freedom that he gives us to do whatever we want. So yeah, it's a good place to be. As you all know, this is why you guys are here, I guess, because of Ajahn Brahm.
Okay, basically I was born in Malaysia, and I moved from Malaysia to Christmas Island when I was roughly about 7. And from there, I spent most of my life there. As I got older, I look at all my friends and what they behave. Then I start to wonder, okay, I didn't like what they are doing. It's like, it becomes like too much of a gain, always trying to get something out of someone, something out of life. And there's no like moral discipline, like caring for one another, looking after one another. Instead of always trying to get something out of someone. So I saw life, a lot of problems. So when I read the Four Noble Truths, I realized, oh, okay, because of the desire, it's causing that problem. Okay, I have to work out how to cause more happiness to myself, and also to help other people. So one thing I took is I took the Bodhisattva vow to help all beings. It sounded impossible, and I knew it was impossible, but it was good enough. So I will start from that first, and just to help other people, and also to cultivate the pure mind. So by doing that, I feel happier in my heart. Then like I put a lot of effort on mindfulness practice. When I wake up, always be happy, always willing to help people, always willing to do things to make people happy, and also to make myself happy. So that way, a lot of my depression left, and I feel happy every moment. And one of the members asked me, Kim, do you want to learn meditation? I say, okay. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm willing to learn anything. Anything goes. So he gave me a set of tapes by Ajahn Brahm on just simple, like washing your breath, making your mind calm and peaceful. So when I first started doing meditation, my mind went very calm and very peaceful. I felt so happy that when I came out, I almost cried. And from that point onwards, I did meditation almost every day. And the more I practiced, the more happy I became. And I just felt very happy. And I decided, okay, when I come down to Perth, I'll visit Bodhinyana Monastery and ask advice from Ajahn Brahm on my practice. So when I came down and asked advice from Ajahn, he told me, okay, as you get deeper, things will happen. So as they arise, it's just a natural course of the mind, cause and effect. So, but the biggest problem I realized, the more I learn, the more I understand, it became craving. Because of craving and wanting, it basically wrecked my meditation. My meditation went downhill for 5 years because of craving and desire to get the result. So it got to a point where I decided, I just give up. I can't be bothered anymore. I just go back to the beginning where I just want to be happy every moment and watch the breath, make my mind calm and peaceful. Then after that, the result came. Then I realized it came because of letting go and being happy in every moment. So as I got my meditation back, so I decided, okay, I took redundancy and went back to Perth, stay with my family. But I always lost that calm of peace while I would work in the mine and coming to Bodhinyana Monastery to stay. So I decided, okay, I asked my parents if I can ordain, and they told me no, you can't ordain because you owe us. And I go, oh, okay. So I asked my parents, when can I ordain? They say, probably never. Not if they're alive. I say, oh, okay, bum. I can't wait for another 10 years. It's just take too long. So I'm looking for the internet. Then I realized there are other people. There's one person, there's only son, he ordained. There's another person, he have to wait until his parents pass away, and he ordained when he was 50. Then I decided, wow, these people are way worse off than me, but they put the effort to ordain. And I got one older brother and one younger brother and one sister. I said, that's it. I got determined to come to the monastery and give it a go. So I came. I said, I'll give myself a go for 1 year. Stay for 1 year. I was very happy in the monastery. No matter how hard it was, I was determined to be happy, no matter what happened. And after 1 year, I decided, I'm very happy. So I'll give it a go for a few years and see what happened. But so far, it's so good. But I'm not the smartest person, but I have a lot of faith, and faith is what's driving me forward in my practice. So basically, just my that's how I come across this monastery. So I'm very happy to be a part of this community and share my story with everyone. So I feel everyone here is a big Dharma family, and we're all practicing something very wholesome in this world. So it's very rare. So thanks for asking that question. I'm very happy. Thanks. I asked a few times. I asked when I was 23, they say no. So I waited until I was 33, 10 years again. Then I asked again, they say no. Then I asked when, another 10 years, they say no. I said, okay. So when? They say, until they pass away. I go, wow, what if I pass away first? So I realized, no, this is something I must do. Because lay life is good, but you tend to get caught up with the world, and you get a headache that builds up in the mind. It's only when you come to the monastery then when you stay in the monastery, in the forest, then your mind calms down, then you feel very happy inside. And there's something you cannot get in the world. It's only when you stay in the monastery or come to the Jhana Grove. Sorry. My mom say, okay, so if you want, yes, you can give it a go. So my mom wasn't not fully supported, but coming to the monastery and seeing how happy I am. So as long as I'm happy and peaceful, she's happy. As long as I'm not miserable and crying, like my mom come out and see me cry, then my mom say, go back. So I try my best to be happy. My mom come over. So it's been very good at the moment. Yes. So yes, my mom gave permission to me. I guess because I always look after my mom, but my mom will ask me to take her out shopping. I always take her out. So she got very attached to me. Since I was a child, I was always a very happy child. So I think my mom was sad to see me leave. But as long as she see me happy in the monastery, then she's happy too. Okay, thank you.
Very nice story from, was it Chanda? Okay. Ajahn, did the Buddha teach to focus on getting jhana, or is it more of an incidental to good practice? He did. The many suttas he talked about, making the mind peaceful and then using that peace to reflect on the nature of reality. So in a sense, he did talk about it. Focus on getting jhana. I think jhana is, or stillness of mind is part of the process. So you're practicing correctly, it happens by naturally as well. So it is, something to aspire to, but it's also something that naturally happens when your practice deepens as well. Yeah. Any questions or comments? Yes? That's right, an Eightfold Path. Samma Samadhi does mean jhanas. The Buddha talked about the fourth jhanas over and over again. So it's not something that was added later on. Buddha himself talking during his time. Yeah.
So the word concentration is jhana.
What is concentration? Samadhi is, I think jhana, jayati. I'm not a Pali scholar, but I remember in my Pali classes, jayati, the word for to meditate, means to get into jhanas. But I think in the terms of samadhi, it's more of a general meaning, of kind of a stillness, a concentrated mind. Means more stillness. But yeah, it can be technical, and some of the technical aspect of it is referring directly to jhanas. Yeah, I think I can only speak from the Thai forest tradition. And they don't talk specifically about jhana because I think a lot of the Thais are not brought up in a Sutta-based kind of context, but a more experiential. So they divide it, they categorize the experience of stillness to, like they said, momentary stillness, when the mind just becomes still for a few moments. And then they call it, access concentration, where the mind becomes still, but not absolutely still. And then when the mind becomes really, really still, and then they stop there. So they don't go on. So that could be taking, when the mind becomes still, solid, it's like anything second jhanas and above. But like I said, and Ajahn Chah was very emphatic on this point, that when you're meditating, there's no signpost saying you're in the first, second, third jhana. It's only after, when you get out, you reflect on it. Right? And it doesn't really matter whether you can label your experience as, first, second, third, or whatever. It's just heading towards more contentment, deeper contentment, and deeper peace. And whatever label that comes afterward is really incidental. But they do talk about stilling the mind first before you start to work on the insight practice. Or more like insight is something that happens after stillness of the mind. Yeah? So they do talk about byway, but they don't have a hugely kind of sutta-based kind of education. So it's more of a loosely based on experience. Yeah, questions or comments?
Sorry, so Samadhi, is it corresponding to one particular jhana?
No, Samadhi is a general term for just stillness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes? The Eightfold Path, for those who are interested in, realize that there's a few people who are kind of not new to Buddhism, so they don't want to get technical, but the Eightfold Path starts out with right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and then right concentration. Right. And each of those right can take up a whole hour of talk. Yeah. Yeah. So, but there's lots of books around. You can just kind of look it up. Yeah. Okay. Ajahn, we have two questions side by side here. Ajahn, can we do the chanting in Pali again? It sounds so much nicer compared to the English, if possible. Thank you. And then we have the next question. Ajahn, it's so nice to have chanting in English. It's understandable to all. So, like I said, we'll do in English in the evening, and those Pali devotees can wake up at 6, and we'll do chanting in Pali in the morning. Okay? Here you go. Dear Ajahn, I'm relatively new to meditation, and the longest I sat was 1 hour continuously without moving. My legs were hurting badly. What do you think of the idea of taking some pain relief medication before I sit, so I can sit longer with metta? Come on. You weren't listening. It's not the length of sitting that counts. It's the quality of your sitting. And you're sitting in pain, then you might as well get up and do something else. It's so as I said, when you're new to meditation especially, it's always to make sure that the body is comfortable. So please sit on a chair. That way the mind will become still, or it starts to slow down. If you're in pain, you're not going to want to meditate for very long, in terms of month or year. Because every time you sit, there's pain. So after a while, the mind will find excuses not to sit. Yeah. So there's no need to take the medication. It takes the Dhamma medication of kind of wisdom. Apply to, okay, I'm going to make my body comfortable first. I'm just going to sit for 15 minutes or 30 minutes first. And just to kind of allow the mind to kind of, slow down, become still by itself. Right? It's not a marathon. It's not a sitting contest to see who's the last to leave the room, who's left sitting. It's here to train our own heart and mind. Right? And you have a good 15 minutes. It's worth heaps more than sitting here 4 hours in excruciating pain every single minute. I mean, once you get a bit further down the track in terms of meditation, then pain can be a great teacher, and it brings up lots of mindfulness. But only when you have the spaciousness of mind to work with it, to investigate and to kind of look at it objectively. But until then, no need to endure the pain. Just make the body as comfortable as you can. And so if you have to take a medication, just sit for less, for not so long. Yeah. Questions or comments? Yeah, it's about the stillness of the mind, not so much about the stillness of the body. Yeah. So you can move. Okay, I emphasize, you don't have to sit without moving. You can move your legs and your knees or whatever when it's painful. Yeah. It's wisdom power that's going to liberate you, not willpower. Wisdom power is much more powerful, much more fun. Willpower can be looking for lots of suffering. Okay. Dear Venerable, I was thinking about the question which was asked a few nights ago, i.e., is Nibbana cosmic suicide, and why we might be afraid of Nibbana. The conclusion I came to was that the reason we might think Nibbana is something undesirable is because we think the 5 aggregates are our self, and that the 5 aggregates are something desirable. We think that the 5 aggregates are self, and that they are desirable. We will naturally crave for their continual existence, which goes in the opposite direction of Nibbana. So perhaps we should first aim to see through the illusion of self, that any fears we might have about Nibbana being the destruction of a self should fade away. Would you agree with the ramblings of this Spatujana? With this worldling, she says. Thanks, with metta. Yes, basically, the 5 khandhas are what the Buddha divide up the human body-mind process. First, the first aggregate is the body, which everything is a body. Next is, feeling. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. That's also another aggregate. And then the third one is perception, how we perceive things. That's also, like, dislike. It's also another. The Buddha interesting divided. Basically, it's a body and mind complex, but only one part of it is the body. The rest of the 4 division that he put in is the mind. So in Buddhism, that's why mind is so important, so central to the teaching. Buddha put a lot of emphasis on the training of the mind, on analyzing different components of the mind. And basically these things that we call body and mind rises, persist, and fade away. Right? And it's true. And so it's not a self in that way. These things come together because of conditions, and they will, break apart when conditions are no longer there. And also that's why some people said, well, you teach kind of Nibbana is extinction, then it's kind of a destroying of self. But the Buddha was emphatic. He said, because there is no self to begin with, that's why you're not destroying the self. That's why the arahants don't die. They're parinibbana. Things just come apart because they come together and now they're coming apart. And that's all there is to it. Without craving, your mental and physical process comes apart. But basically, it's true. There is not a destruction of self because there's no self to begin with. Dear Ajahn, is it full moon tonight? And can we have an all-night sit? Thank you. Close. It's not tonight. It's tomorrow night. That's where the monks have their traditional kind of ceremony that we do. We do a confession every fortnight with each other, and then we hear the recitation of the rules in Pali over at Bodhinyana. Unfortunately, we'll be here because there's a talk. We have to give the evening talks here. But I was thinking about that because at Buddha-Dhamma, we do have a kind of a late night vigil, a late night meditation session on full moon and new moon nights. And we do sit between 9 to 12. So Saturday being the last night, and it's a full moon, so all the conditions are right for us to strive. So I do encourage people to kind of, play with your limits, sit for as long as you can, and then, to see what happens. The full moon is a special night, actually. And because Sunday afternoon, the retreat is over anyway, so it's the last chance to kind of have a good sit. So I do invite people tomorrow, after the evening meetings, to continue sitting till midnight anyway, and see. It's a beautiful moon out there. You can sit or walk, do walking meditation on the grounds. It's very peaceful. So yes, tomorrow we'll do our late night sit from 9 to 12. Yeah. Given that I'm struggling to remember much of what's been said during Q&A, which I've enjoyed immensely, I think I've turned the wrong dial and disconnected my brain instead of my mind. Okay, I'm wondering if we're able to purchase a copy of the recording from this retreat, and how can we do this? Oh, I think Dania and Mike, who are the caretaker, they're usually in charge of the recording. Yes? Oh, okay. Maybe Bianca knows something about it. Okay, yes. So they're available at the end of the retreats for $10. And see Mike or Dania, I think, at the end of the retreat. Yeah, okay. Dear Ajahn, why is the Buddha enclosed in a pagoda? He looks like he's in jail. Thanks. Yes, these are kind of different iconography. People kind of choose to display, kind of show the Buddha in different ways. Yeah, I think pagodas or mounds are a traditional kind of Indian custom where you have a king or a very holy person passed away, and they make kind of a shrine out of it for them, and they bury and they make big mounds, and it's kind of a memorial to beings. When people see that, they realize that there is a very holy person there. It brings to mind that these things are the arahants, the enlightened beings are still around, and usually you have a lot of faith, brings a lot of happiness and inspiration to have these kind of stupas. And that's why the practice has evolved over the ages to have these little stupas around different places. And yeah, I know sticking the Buddha statue, I guess, seems like a good idea to enclose it in something. And also, I think usually images of the Buddha it brings, if you have a lot of faith, brings up a lot of happiness and inspirations. So that's why they're also put inside the stupas. Yeah. So it's more of a reminder, an object of reverence for people. Yeah. Questions or comments? Okay. Dear Ajahn, when I notice my mind has wandered away from the meditation object, it is quite easy for me to redirect my focus. Does this mean I am suppressing the original thought? If so, what is a better way to approach a wandering mind? Now, with a wandering mind is two things, and you kind of have to work out for yourself to whether to kind of nudge it back to the meditation object, and if you can do that easily and the mind stays with your meditation object, say the breath or the body, then it's fine. And you continue doing that. But for some reason, sometimes these wandering thoughts are, disturbing. You redirect it to your breath, and then a few seconds later, you're off again. And if it happens, 2 or 3 times, very close to each other, then you probably think, well, my mind is not quite ready to settle down onto a meditation object yet. So then it's time to just watch it. It's okay. Mind, you want to run around? Okay, we'll just watch you for a few minutes to see where you want to run to, where you want to distract yourself with. And just to watch that. And I think a lot of us, because if we grab the mind too hard, it's going to, there's an energy, and it's going to kind of rebel. But just to be with it, allow it to go where it wants to go, then eventually it's going to settle down. Right? Similarly, Ajahn Brahm talks about a lot is this kind of, what is called that, the buffalo. I don't know, apparently the stories goes that, in the village where Wat Pananachat, the old monastery is at, there's this villager, and they've got lots of buffalo. So every morning they take the buffalo out to the field to have a feed or to work. But sometimes the buffalo gets scared and he starts to run. Right? And usually the villager, he winds his rope around his finger or something. And this villager wasn't very clever. The buffaloes got scared, spooked for some reason. Maybe a car was driving by, and it starts to run. The villager, not wanting to let the buffalo go, starts to pull. And he didn't let go of the rope. So the buffalo kept running faster, and he pulled half his finger off. And he says, see, that's not a very wise farmer. Wise farmer would have just let the rope go. And he knows that the buffalo only runs so far. And then he stops eventually. When he's feeling safe again, he's not so scared, he stops. And he knows where the food is, so he generally goes back to the house. And that's how you catch your buffalo mind. Same with the similar, that's how you catch your buffalo mind. When your mind is like a buffalo, it wants to run off, allow it to go. And then when it's kind of exhausted itself, it will settle down slowly. No need to force it. When you force it, you might get your finger ripped off. And same, it becomes some stress or something. When you force the mind too much, you get ulcers in your mouth or tensions in your shoulders or your stomach. You start gritting your teeth. And so those are different symptoms of trying to force the mind too much. So meditation is a lot of time using wisdom to deal with our mind. Gentleness, kind of using your innate intelligence to figure out, what's happening here. Why is not the mind want to settle down? So use that wisdom. It's much more powerful than, like I said, willpower. Yeah. Questions or comments? Last one. I'm interested to know about the timing of retreat, 3, 9 days. Is there a specific reason for the allocated time, or is it just how it is? Thank you. I think generally, as far as I know, weekend retreats are quite convenient. People show up on a Friday night, leave on Sunday. No dramas. You don't have to ask for a leave. And it's short enough where you kind of get a taste of meditation, learn to kind of refocus. So that's the reason for weekend retreats. Long weekend retreats falls into that same category. There's a 3-day weekend, and people also want to take that, and obviously to kind of get a taste of meditation, or if you're a seasoned meditator, just to touch base again, a nice break from your busy life. 9 days, I don't know.
Just take 1 week off work.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what it is. There you go. It starts on a Friday and ends on a Sunday still. Yeah, and it's actually, you only take 5 days and you have the whole 9 days because it's bookend with 2 weekends. So that's the reason why they're popular, the 9 days, because you have the 2 weekends and then the whole week off. Yeah. But I think, and for longer retreats, there's, you can have 30 days. The Tibetans do a 3-year, 3 months, and 3 days retreat. So those of you who are serious about meditation, you can try for those. You're not enlightened, ask for your money back. Yes? No, I think we're big on Easter retreats because people can string a few holidays together, and it's time people get off. So we're big on Easter retreat, and I think Thanksgiving retreats we like to do for some reason. But it's basically just a week off and then 2 weekends. Yeah. Excuse me?
What's Thanksgiving here in Australia?
Yeah, good question. I don't know why it's on Thanksgiving. It's not Thanksgiving. It's just November retreats we call it, I guess. Yeah, okay. So it's not really Thanksgiving. I just associate with Thanksgiving, but it's just November. And that's the reason there's no retreats between July and October, because Ajahn Brahm is doing his rains retreat over there. And during the rains retreat, which is 3 months, we generally focus on our own personal practice of meditation. And so, the rule says that we're not really allowed to leave the monastery to spend it, like an overnight somewhere else. We can go out, teach, and come back, but we can't spend an overnight outside of the monastery during the rains retreat, unless it's a very good reason. You can take the 7 days leave when, your parents are dying or something, but otherwise, you're expected to stay in the monastery. So that's why there's no teaching during the rains retreat, for that reason. Yeah. But also, it's a very nice time to spend at Bodhinyana Monastery or Dhammasara, especially Bodhinyana, because that's the only time where you can really count on Ajahn Brahm being around. The other times he's between Singapore and Europe or somewhere. But in the rains retreat, because of this rule, he has to be there most of the time. No, I think over there's room for 3 ladies. We have the guest monk here, and 4 laymen. Yeah, 4 men and 3 ladies. And 3 months long. He gives talks, but it's only once a week. And but also one nice thing is every 2 weeks, every fortnight, you have a personal interview with Ajahn Brahm just to check in regarding your practice, about 10 or 20 minutes interview or something like that. 15 minutes interview. 15 minutes interview. Yes. Yes?
Is it silence?
Who?
Are you in silence during 3 months?
No, we're very talkative. Nothing to do. But it's more restrained. We don't have coffee clubs. The coffee club is canceled. And we don't come out to evening drinks. You're meant to have drinks in your hut. So it's more restrained in that way. And there's not so much work project as well. So it's a very nice time to be in the monastery. Yeah, you get to really, well, when the monastery is actually meditating. The monks are meditating and not doing so much. Yeah. Sorry, Mary? Yeah.
This is a question for any or all of you. Have you
Yes, I met a few in Thailand when I was there as a novice. And so there's a few monks. And that's the thing, well, you never know for sure, obviously. But they do have, reputation of being very peaceful and kind of finish the work. And it's not something, obviously, you people talk about. But between monks, you can tell other monks about your realization of the truth. And these are and also you get it from, obviously it's kind of the grapevines kind of news, and you get it from monks who live with these, really these masters for many, many years. And they said, I've never seen my teacher get mad. He always acts very kind, and it's very even all the time. Yeah, so you do have, you learn credence to that. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some more to that. And the only way to know for sure, obviously, is to live with these masters for a long time and see them for yourself. Otherwise, it's just, people do have lots of projections, so you talk to different people, and all their teachers are enlightened or whatever, And it's natural to think, that your teachers are enlightened. Yeah, but I do have, I feel I have had the good fortune to meet many monks who are obviously very, very peaceful and very, very kind. Yeah, so there's no reason to disbelieve. But there are obviously a few sensational cases where monks who have believed, and then there's a scandal regarding a woman or something, and then those things also happen as well. So with anything, you don't throw, faith is good, but reasoned faith grounded in reality is much better than blind faith, right? So always, any monks or nuns who kind of ask you and encourage you to break the precepts, then really think twice. If they're not living the life in restraint, they're using luxurious stuff, and also, obviously think twice. Yeah. I'll pass it on to Santuti.
In my life as a monk, I haven't really travelled around, so I haven't seen a lot of monks, which means I haven't met many enlightened beings, but I've heard stories about them, particularly in Thailand and in a few monks. I remember there's this story. It's about this a monastery in Bangladesh, and I don't know about this monk, but it sounds like this monk is a pretty special monk. And during the Katina ceremony, which we have here in Perth, in the Katina ceremony that we have here, we usually get about 1,000 people turning up. And I don't know about in Thailand. How many people do they usually get in Thailand, say for like Ajahn Anan or Ajahn? A couple of thousand. But in Bangladesh there was this a forest monastery, and the amount of people that showed up was 50,000. So that that probably tells you that monk there is a special monk. And they did things in the traditional way. There's one thing that we do for the Katina ceremony, and that is to sew the monks' robes. And what we do here is we get somebody from Nollamara to offer us about 2 or 3 meters of robe material, and the monks jump onto the sewing machine, and we sew the robe within 2 or 3 hours, or maybe more. But at this place, the actual villagers, they what they did was they got the cotton, but it was in cotton thread, so they weaved the actual cloth. So you got all these villagers, I don't know how many, maybe 10, 20, 100, 200, I don't know. And they weave this cloth. And then after they do that, they dye it. And then after they dye it, they sew it. Or the monks sew it, but they sew it by hand. So, yeah, it's a kind of interesting story. Meeting monks who are enlightened, I haven't really met many. And if I did, I probably wouldn't tell you.
Okay, I can't really say much because I'm still very, I'm still very new to this game. Because I just ordained November last year. But coming to the monastery as a guest and staying there, sometimes I have seen monks that's in their 80s, and from what I heard from other people that's saying there, some say this is a very good monk, so it might have reached some level of enlightenment. But one thing I always notice, they're very happy, very peaceful, and even if they're in their 80s, they have a lot of energy. It's almost like looking at a young person, a young kid. For someone that age, you see a person is very dull and it's like they're almost half dead. But to see a monk in his 80s, it's like